So we're talking about real estate contracts, and we're talking about the actual written verbiage in the contract. And I want to talk about the important part of the most important part of the contracts that we have right here: contract for sale, real estate purchase contract. The most important part of the contract, which we just talked about, is first off, we want to have a disclosure right here, and that disclosure is telling the seller that we are essentially buyer is agreeing to purchase the property to rent, lease, assign, fix, flip for profit right here. So buyer, we're basically doing this for a profit. And here's the thing to know is that I tell the seller that I'm not going to live in the property. I'm not going to live in the property. I am only doing this to buy this property for a profit. That's why I'm here. And I don't know if I'm going to rent the property. I don't know if I'm going to fix and flip the property. I don't know if I'm going to flip it to another investor. All I know is we're signing a contract right here, and we're signing it for a closing date, and we're signing it for a price, right? So on here, obviously we have the purchase price, and we have the closing date. So let me go back to here. Yeah, this is a wholesale property that we did a deal on. This is actually a wrap transaction we did a deal on. And I'll show you the rapidendum here in a second. But this is important, disclosures. And now it basically tells the people and shows them, number one, is that we are essentially buying the property for a profit and to make a profit only, right? Number one. And number two, and it says we don't know if we're going to rent, lease. We don't know if we're going to rent, lease, right? Right here. Assign, that means we assign the property. So people they're wondered, well, if I assign the property, what if I assign the property and the seller gets mad because I assign it? Listen, it's right here in the contract. And I tell the seller, I say, listen, we don't know if we're going to rent it, lease it, assign it, fix it, or flip it, but the bottom line is we're doing it for a profit. And that's obviously I'm not going to live in the property. I'm not going to live in it as a primary resident. That's number one. Number two, important part, as we talked about, is our inspection period. Contract is contingent upon a 30-day inspection period. 30-day inspection period. That is critically important because this is our out clause. We can get out on the inspection period, right? Number one. Number two, oh, this is where I messed up. The deposit of $100. This is what I messed up. $100, deposit of $100 with the title company, which be part of the cash paid to seller when transfer titles. So all of our contracts have $100 earnest money deposit. Now, this is important because if I go down here, it's going to talk about default language, right? Now, this default language right here. In the event agreement fails to close due to the default of the buyer, which is you, seller's sole remedy, right, shall be to retain earnest money as full liquidated damages. So let's look at that right here. So what is full? What's the earnest money? Earnest money again is $100, right? So that's the full liquidated damages right here. So this default language is important. Having your inspection period right there is important. And then we scroll down, other agreements, purchasing property and as is condition, time is of the essence, governing law, this is in the state of Arizona, servability, and then you have the signatures. So that being said, that is the crux of the contract, right? That is the most important parts of the contract that you can have on here. And what that does, it gives you the ability to essentially write a contract. You're telling the seller, I'm an investor, I'm not going to live in the property, and I'm here to make a profit. It's going to give you the ability to have a 30-day, right? A 30-day, I'll show you the addendum here in a second, but it'll give you the ability to have a 30-day inspection period where you can cancel this contract at any time during the inspection period. Now, if you go over the inspection period and you don't cancel and you can't close, it gives you the ability to essentially not get sued because the default language says that in the event of a default, you get to keep the earnest money, and the earnest money is $100. So your risk in this particular situation is $100. Now, That being said, I'm not an attorney. I can't give you legal advice. But I can tell you anybody can sue anybody for anything, and I've seen it. The bottom line is that it has the language to protect you that in the event of a default, it has it all spelled out right there that that the maximum risk is $100 or the earnest money that you decide to put down. Now let's talk about the addendum real quick. And this is what's called the rapidendum. And this addendum is on a deal that we did here in Gilbert, which was essentially a retail deal. Oh yeah, this is a retail deal that we did right here, this one on Palmer on Gilbert. And if you see, it says that what's the purchase price? The purchase price says right here, it says see addendum, right? So that's the purchase price. So we have the same contract, but then it goes see addendum. Well, what's on the addendum? This is where the magic happens right here. This addendum says buyer agrees, right, to pay seller $500 net at closing, right? Seller agrees to convey title via an agreement for sale, land contract, or contract for deed, depending on where you are, is what it's called, on an exact wrap. What's an exact wrap? Right, an exact wrap is an exact wrap. How can I explain an exact wrap? Let's say theoretically, this right here is the mortgage. This is an exact wrap. We're going to take this new loan and we're going to wrap the existing mortgage right here with a new loan. The new loan is going to be the only difference on this new loan we're going to have right here is that the term is going to be shorter. If this loan, for an example, is for 30 years at 5% interest, it's a $100,000 mortgage, 5% interest, 30-year fixed loan. It's a PITI loan. We're going to do an exact wrap on that existing loan, but instead of 30 years, we're going to do, say, a 5-year term. But everything else is going to be the same. It's going to be $100,000. It's going to be 5%. Payments are going to be the same. So that's just what you call an exact wrap. It's where you wrap the existing loan. Now, let's go back to the addendum here, and I'll show you. So remember, we got the, let me see, edit. Okay, on the exact wrap of the existing loan for the term of 4 years, right? On the exact wrap, existing loan for the term of 4 years. Loan amount shall not exceed $307, and payments, including taxes and insurance, shall not exceed $1,600. Buyer agrees to pay taxes and insurance. All the terms and conditions in the purchase contract remain the same, and then the purchase contract is right here, right? So that being said, with that purchase contract and with that addendum, you can literally sign up, and that's where you do the down payment arbitrage. Now, in that particular deal, in this contract that you see right here, let me show you on this this addendum. Let me show you how much cash we gave the seller. We gave the seller $500. Buyer agrees to pay seller $500. Now, we collected from the buyer on the arbitrage, because remember, giving $500 to the seller. On the buyer, we collected $29,000. So we got $29,000 down, of which $500 went to the seller, and then $500 went to seller, and the balance $28,000 went to $500 went to us. So we made $28,500 on this deal. We gave $500 to the seller. We sold it for $29,000 down. The difference, $28,500, went to us as a fee. When you're doing the down payment arbitrage, there was minimal equity. And here's what I talk about. It's funny. I was talking to our sales guys the other day. When you're talking to a seller and negotiating, you have to do the math with them so they understand the net number they're going to get at close of escrow. So this house, this particular house, I believe was worth about $320, right? So let's do the math. House is worth $320,000. Their option is to list the property with a realtor. But if we do the math, I don't have my pencil with me here, but if we do the math, right? Maybe you guys can help me out here. If you do the math on this, what is 6%? What is 6% of $300,000? Right? $320,000. Can you wrap FHA loans? No, you can't. That's the only thing it can do. What do I do for Flip2Freedom? Flip2Freedom is my brand. I created it back in 2010. And we wholesale houses, flip houses, wholesale houses. So anyway, so the bottom line is that in this particular case, if you do the math with a seller and you actually get them to understand the net number that's going to be to them. So let's do the math real simple and easy right here. Hey, maybe I have a calculator. Do I have a calculator over here? No, I don't. So anyway, so 320, 6% of 320 is what? Well, let's take 6%, $18,000. All right, so $18,000, you got a calculator, perfect. So $18,000 comes off. Now, what's 6%? 6% is the list to close ratio. List to close ratio, right? So list to close ratio is when a property actually lists, what it actually closes for is a list to close ratio. Meaning, if you list a house for $320,000, right, you're not going to get $320,000, right? It typically takes 100, 150 days, 80 days, 90 days, and you're going to get a list to close ratio from what it's listed for to what it closes for. And it varies anywhere from 4 to 6%. I use a 6% number. And sellers fully understand that. They understand that they're going to list a house. They're not going to get full asking price for the property. They're going to get a discount lower price, and then they're eventually going to close at a certain number. That number is 6%. In our case, it's $18,000. So now we're down to $302,000. Now there's another $18,000 is going to come. List to close ratio. Yes, Henry Hustler, perfect. Now you're going to have another 6% that's going to come off for realtors, right? Another $18,000 is going to come off the bat of there, right? So now, we're at 302, right? Now we go another 20,000. Now we're down to 284, right? 284. I'm not so good at math. That's why I need a calculator right here, man. So why don't you guys help me out? So let's say you're at 384 for the property right there. Now you're at 284, so you're at $284,000, right? See, I want to impress you to the fact that anybody can do this. So $284,000. Now you're at 284, but here's the issue. The seller owes 302, right? So now I'm down to 284. Now you have 2% closing cost and fees on the 320, right? So or the $302,000. So we basically got 2%. That's another $6,000 coming off the top right there, right? So now we are a lot lower than this guy. Oh, so he owes 302, and now he's down into a number where he's upside down. He's going to have to come to the table with cash. So now my question is to the seller, and you're asking the question was, how did I get him the $500? Because I did the math with him, and I actually had to calculate it, and I wrote down the math. And then I turned to the seller, and I go, let me ask you a question, Mr. Seller. Are you prepared to come to closing with over $23,000, $24,000? And then you shut up. Right? Are you prepared to come into closing with an additional $23,000 to $24,000, $25,000, assuming a best case scenario? And then you shut up. And the seller goes, I'm not coming into closing with $23,000, $24,000. Are you crazy? So the bottom line is, you're like, he's not going to come into closing with cash. So then I said, listen, what if we left your existing loan in place and I gave you $500 cash? That would be better than coming in with $20,000+, wouldn't it, Mr. Seller? And they said yes, and we were able to get that deal, and we purchased the house for $500. That's how you can get a deal done, right, with a motivated seller, where you're literally buying a house for $500. And not only did we buy the house for $500, we flipped it and made $28,500. So that's what I love about real estate. You can structure any deal you want Yeah. But the bottom line is this, is that you have to do the math with a seller. And if you do the math and you focus on what their net number is to them, primarily, most of the time, you can pretty much beat any net number. All right, so that's the bottom line. That's how you get those numbers down. So, but yeah, you can use the contract. That becomes the process. That's what you do every single day. As a real estate wholesaler, that's what you do all day, every day. All you do, right? All you do is the process of making offers every single day. Anyway, so I got a jet. I'll talk to you guys later. Have an awesome night, and God bless.
Hey guys, it's Carlos Reyes, All In Nation, All In Entrepreneurs. I'm one of the speakers at Flip2Freedom, and I am so excited for this event. This hits home for me, and let me tell you why. I was there just a few years ago. Okay, I had to ask permission from my job, and they did not want to let me go, but I went anyway. And I don't regret going, because guess what? My life has changed. Everything, not only my life, but the lives around me has changed forever. I've been able to change my mindset, the way I view business, and the rest is history. I've been able to create, a multi-million-dollar real estate operation. And what I'm saying is the value that you're gonna get at this event, it's gonna be crazy. The speakers, the content, the strategies, guys, you can't miss it. I'll see you there.